Live and we are on.
I have 4:33, and at this time we will call the meeting of the Kansas City Commission to order. With that, Commissioner Potter, would you please send the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to be here representing the people of Canyon. Lord, just give us the wisdom to make good decisions and that represent our people. And we love you, and we just ask that in Christ's name, amen.
Stand with it.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That takes us to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of May 20th, 2025.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, that takes us to public comment, comments from interested citizens. And we do have several that have signed in and joined us today. So welcome. And I think Joe was just showing me a letter of support here. And Tracy, you and I visited some too, but communicated. Heather Hale, have you as first signed up to visit about pickleball. And if you all would, especially since we have several, if you state your name and address and like to keep it to 3 minutes, please. So, yes, if you want to come up to the podium, that's great. So.
And I'll have a comment. My name is Heather Hale, and I'm at 25 Greenwood Circle in Canyon. And I'm here to talk about pickleball and how it's a benefit to Canyon. But first, I would like everybody who's here for the pickleball to raise your hands or stand up or get a whoop whoop. I have a text message group of, I don't know, I think there's at least 30 people on that text message group, and at least 5 to 6 of them are out of town, and then several could not make it today. So this is just a very small representation of who we have playing in Canyon. I am a teacher at Canyon High School, and I have a pickleball club. And so high schoolers and I like to go down there about once a week or so to play pickleball, and I find that captures a lot of students who don't have a lot to do or don't fit in with the sports team. So Canyon High School students use the pickleball courts. WT uses the pickleball courts. If you go up there at night, because college students function at night, they're up there playing and having a lot of fun. So I appreciate y'all hearing us and listening to us and looking at the improvements. And we're asking that we do some things such as windscreens and repainting the courts and expanding the courts. The one concern I have about the courts is the windscreen. When the wind is at 10 miles per hour, it's difficult to play at the courts, and so we find that we tend to go to Amarillo to play because they have windscreens, or sometimes there's indoor courts that we can play at. And what I find is my group, we will play and then we'll go eat. And so while we don't really love going up to Amarillo, we'd like to stay local to play. If we want to play, we have to go up there. And so Canyon is actually missing out on opportunities for economic growth because we're going up there to gas money and to eat. And so the windscreens would make it more available for us to play, and then more courts would allow more of us to play. So we really appreciate you listening to us and improving our courts, because it really makes all of us very super happy. And we bring in the old people, we bring in the young people, we bring in the not the medium people, as middle-aged people. And we have a lot of fun socializing and hanging out and enjoying what Canyon has to offer us. Thank you.
Tracy Smother.
Yes.
My name is Tracy Smotherman. My address is 15800 Outback Trail, and I'm a pickleball-aholic. Basically, I'm here just to throw out a few ideas or things that will help the pickleball people here. I put a few stats or facts down about pickleball. It is an effective workout and outdoor activity. Research has found consistent players see significant improvements in their stress level, a 60% decline in their depression, and many benefits for fitness and overall physical health and mental well-being. It's accessible for all ages. It's very social. It can be enjoyed by people of all ages and all skill levels. I know because I'm at the bottom of the levels. It's a great way to meet new friends, and it's affordable for all people. The equipment is anywhere from inexpensive to expensive. So I think just since April, I have seen homeschool families out there with their kids in the afternoon. I've seen grandmothers out there with their grandchildren playing. I've seen Canyon Eagles, WT Buffs, couples and seniors. It's been really fun to just see all the people that show up. And so what we were wanting to do is just bring a few requests up for consideration. One of them is just repainting the courts, which I did get a response from Joe Price saying that that is in the works. You guys have the paint, you've got the manpower. We're just waiting for the cap to open before you can start on that. So that's great. We thank you so much for that. Also, another one is to add an additional court where the skate ramps and the equipment are located now, which is great as well. I did want to mention there are a couple of guys out there that do use the skateboarding equipment, and so I didn't know if that was possible to maybe relocate it and not just get rid of it. So that was just a recommendation for that. Wind block was on my list as well. We know what our panhandle weather brings, and it's usually way more than 10 miles an hour, which makes it pretty difficult to play pickleball the way it's meant to be played. Just wind block around the perimeter of the chain link out there. Another thing that I've noticed at some of the courts in Amarillo is that they've got some 4-foot chain link in between each court. And that keeps balls from rolling into other games that are active and being played. I think it would help prevent injuries, people tripping on balls and people bumping into each other. And I think that would be a fairly inexpensive and easy fix as well. Or if my husband said, if chain link is not an option, there is sturdy netting that could be put in between those courts as well. I don't know. Harry, I think you're up. You ready?
Sure.
Thank you guys all for coming too, by the way.
Hello, Harry Houston.
3 minutes is strictly.
I got it down to 250. So don't count this as part of it. First, thank you all for coming. Appreciate you coming here. And I'm here to talk about pickleball courts, but I'm also here to let you know, as a pickleball player, I appreciate, Joe, what you, Brian, and you guys have done to put money aside. But I'd also like to let you know, I know, like everything else, costs money. And so I did a little research on grants that are available for pickleball. The U.S. Pickleball Association has 2 types of grants. The one that we would qualify for is called Play It Forward. The grant opens on July 8th. It opens, it closes on August 5th. This is designed to help cities that have existing pickleball courts to expand, resurface. That's one. There also happens to be several others. I looked at the state of Texas, and I believe some of you go to the Texas Municipal League. Joe, don't you go down there?
Yes, we all do.
Okay. There are some grants available through that organization. There are also grants available called Texas Government E-Grants. There may be other grants out there that may be available. But I think it's important that as we look at this, there's only one pickleball area done here. As Canyon is growing, I would suggest we take a look at existing city parks that are wonderful for additional pickleball courts in these areas. The other thing I would like to recommend is a joint effort between Canyon and WT. WT does not have pickleball courts. Okay, they have existing tennis courts. And you can translate that and do some other things that would not, I think, wouldn't cost the city a cent. But I understand tight budgets and everything. The other thing that I think would be important that you guys need to understand, you are giving us the privilege of pickleball for nothing. You can't find that in Amarillo, Texas. Every place you go is charging the players a fee. I also talked to Brian Knoll here because I wanted to know, is it possible for us to have a reservation system? Because when we go down there and play pickleball, it's like a three-ring circus on any particular day around 5 o'clock because there's no regulation. You're there, you wait. We're not talking 5 or 10 minutes. We're talking up to 90 minutes in some points until people are exhausted or they say, oh, well, let's take pity on these poor old people and do it that way. I'm being facetious, of course. So again, one of the other things I found is that Brian said he had a reservation system. So I'm throwing these ideas out to you because I understand money is tight, but there appears to be alternative funding areas out there if you take a little time and look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. All right, I know most of the time we don't address back a lot, but I think this time may be appropriate. Joe and John might.
Mr. Burns can just highlight what we're doing right now.
Yeah, the email,
Prior to this meeting.
the email that was referred to you, that was spoken about, that was from Joe and that was from Brian and myself. We're committed to going ahead and removing the skateboard equipment, which will make another group show up here and say they're disappointed in us. And so, but as far as use, if we're talking about percentage of people and time and usage, that's a very small usage compared to what you all are using that. So we are game to do that. We're not sure about the size over there, you know. I've looked at, and you've got the practice court, there's something else. It's not called a mini court, but there's something else that's like one lane. If you go read about.
Single court.
Yeah, and I've looked at that. Just talking about that, we're gonna see what we can get over there, what we're moving with that. And I think Brian's plan is to try to get that side set up and then have to close the other side to go back and paint it, but not to close and paint and then go open the other side. So that's kind of where we're trying to go there. And I'll roll, but Harry, we have talked about the reservation thing. I've always been hesitant to charge you. I've always been hesitant to do a reservation. I wish we could work that out in a courtesy manner. We know how that works. We all lay our paddles down, correct? And it's king of the court is typically how that goes. But that's not necessarily how you all choose to play, right? Because when the college boy is there, he's king of the court because he was 4A state champion in tennis.
I don't mean to cut off, but since this is not a posted agenda item,
I'll wrap it up.
well, we can either put something on Facebook updating everybody, if you're okay, Joe?
Yep.
Updating everybody of what's going to happen, and that way
That's
y'all
fine.
could follow that on our Facebook. Somebody put
Goals
that, you
to-
guys.
But you can see we're
Goals to
moving in the right direction, trying to
Yes.
get that going.
Goals to remove skateboarding stuff, paint it, lock the other one down, repaint it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing as soon as possible.
Thank
Look
you.
at
Thank you.
And that's the first time I've heard anything about netting, so.
And we'll
windscreen.
talk about the,
We'll get to the windscreen. All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you all for being here. It is good, a lot of times we don't have people show up for our meetings. Community participation, and so we
It's a good
appreciate it.
reason. I like this one.
However, they are required to stay for the entire meeting. Secure the doors. Steve, take care of that.
stepping in front of them.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We do have one more signed in, Howard Morris.
Thank you. Sorry, my phone went off. My son checking on me.
We
Kinda-
do
this-
confiscate cell phones that go off in there.
This is unusual for me, it's being the city commission in this type of status. I'm Howard Morris, live 505 11th Avenue. Have lived there since 1968. Been in Canyon since 64. I have property at 609 First Avenue, and that's what I'd like to address. I've talked to the code enforcement and different ones, John, about my living at my barn. I call it the barn. I'm in the industrial zone. About a year and a half ago, it was allowed for one person to live on site as a custodian or a guard or whatever. I understand in December of 2023, I think you told me was the date, that you did a new ordinance or a new zoning, and it doesn't allow that. But I have questions about that. Of course, there's a lot of people living around me, and I understand the grandfather clause. Right across the alley from me, about 2 or 3 years ago, they had 3 travel trailers there, people living in, but they've sold that building and have moved elsewhere. But I was told it was because you could have somebody living there as a guard or whatever. That was several years ago, about 3 years ago. According to my understanding, the zoning ordinance in an industrial zone would allow me to have a long-term care facility. I'm not asking for a long-term care facility. I'm fixing to be 83, so I'll be out dreamland before long. Since my wife passed away, I don't need a 2,000 square foot house to live in. It's me and my girlfriend, a 4-footed dog about this tall, and that's all that would be there. You can also have a assisted care facility in an industrial zone. You can also have a motel in an industrial zone and allow people to spend the night in an industrial zone. And I'm sure if there's a motel, there'd be some caretakers that would be spending the night as well as office personnel and such like. All I'm asking is that the city either change it back to the way it was 18 months ago that would allow me to use that as my residence, or have a variance. I asked for a variance and they said this had to be done through the city commission, so that's why I'm here. I have a lot of people tell me, said, Howard, just go ahead and do it, the city would never know it. And that's probably right. I could put me a little bed and a little bit of living quarters in that barn and you'd never know it. But my Bible tells me to obey the laws of the land. I cannot conscientiously do that. So I'm asking you either to make a variance or a special use to allow me to put something over there for my dog and I to live in. And I assure you at my age, it's probably not going to be very long. I know you can't make a decision on that tonight. I'm not asking you to. I just want to make the request, because they said that's the only way I can get this where it would be kosher for me to do it. There's a house right across the alley from me. People lived in for years. They have just recently passed, but they've lived there for years. There's one about a block and a half to the right, a house. There's houses down the street. I understand those are grandfathered. But my understanding is zoning, single family is the strictest zone. I can't put a mobile home in a single family zone. Why? It would reduce everybody's property value in that zone, right? For me to stay over there in that industrial zone is not going to affect the property owners around it at all, with the exception it might increase their value because there'd be less out for somebody to be able to do theft and such like if I was there more than I am now. So that's my request to the commission. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer it. If not, I'll get out of your hair.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
You hang in there. You're looking good.
Well, I'm doing pretty good for an 83-year-old guy. That'd be August. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Howard.
Let me know.
All right. Item number 6 is to conduct a public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance 1231, annexing territory to the City of Kenyon, Kenyon Independent School District, and ordinance of the City of Kenyon, Texas, annexing the territory herein described to the City of Kenyon in Randall County, Texas, extending the boundary limits of the City of Kenyon to include the property herein described within the said city limits, and granting to all the inhabitants of said property all the rights and privileges of other citizens, and binding said inhabitants by all the acts, ordinances, resolutions, and regulations of said city. Chuck, looks like you and Lucas are.
We are on the agenda, Mayor. Thank you very much. Lucas is a much more exciting speaker, so I'm going to let him address this.
Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just the public hearing, right?
Public hearing,
We
yeah.
can't take action on the ordinance
Correct.
tonight, yeah.
Right.
So this
Board
is just,
action on the ordinance is July 1st.
that's right. So this is just the public hearing for any interested citizens that wanted to come and comment on the annexation of that CISD property. I don't believe that we have anybody signed in to speak on this agenda item, so we will just need to open
There's not.
and close that public hearing.
Well, with that, we will open the public hearing, and if no one is signed in, we will close the public hearing.
All right. Thank you. And again, no action tonight. That'll be on July 1st.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 24-2025, a resolution of the City of Kenyon, Texas, setting a date, time, and place for public hearings, and providing for notice of public hearings in regard to the proposed approval of landowner requests to include unincorporated property in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of Kenyon, followed by annexation of said property upon petition of landowners Prairie Grass Properties LLC and Montgomery Agricultural Operations LLC, Texas Limited Liability Companies.
Okay, this is our last time to bring this one forward. I think we had another error where we missed a public hearing on this one. It didn't make it to our agenda, and so this is bringing back an updated annexation calendar for Phantom Creek. And then that action will be on Tuesday, July 15th to officially annex that property into the City of Kenyon.
Move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right. Item number 8, consider and take appropriate action on a subdivision waiver for Spring Canyon Unit 4.
Okay, so GDI submitted on behalf of Canyon Capital Group a waiver request for the subdivision known as Spring Canyon Unit 4. So this is the first unit in Spring Canyon that will be tied onto the lift station that we've signed a contract to construct. One of the things that is required in our new subdivision regulations is a connectivity index. It's basically a calculation of how many dead ends, links, and nodes are in a subdivision, ensuring that there's adequate access and connectivity. This unit has a lot of constraints, being that it's surrounded on 4 sides by one challenge or another, spring draw on the east, an existing subdivision on the north with all private property owners, the highway on the west, and then another existing unit of Spring Canyon on the south, again with private property owners. It would make it difficult to add any street connections or anything like that. So they have requested a waiver for that connectivity index. We did take this to the Planning and Zoning Commission, who voted unanimously to recommend approval of this waiver.
Move we approve. Have a motion and second to approve. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 9, to conduct public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1228, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, rezoning the property proposed as Unit 4 of Spring Canyon as defined in the attached Exhibit A, providing that the zoning classification be posted upon the zoning district maps of the City of Canyon, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are expressly repealed and provided for an effective date.
All right, thank you. So this is, again, Spring Canyon Unit 4. We are working with the developers to finalize the unit. We have seen a preliminary drainage report. We've looked at the layout, and so this is a request to zone the approved concept plan, all the lots in that approved concept plan. So you can see there's 4 different zoning districts. It is PDF page 42. Gretchen, if you wouldn't mind, and it's a giant document, but if you can kind of zoom in to the colored area there, you can see the entrance has commercial zones, followed by some multifamily townhomes, and then there's an urban neighborhood, traditional single-family lots there, SF6, and then where the topography kind of falls off towards the draw, it goes back to those minimum half-acre lots where there will be city water, but no sewer, because it's too far below grade to be able to catch the new sewer system. And so that's the makeup there. We do have to open a public hearing to consider this item as well.
All right. With that, we'll open the public hearing.
Nobody has signed in, Mayor.
We will close the public hearing.
Any questions on this proposed zoning?
Are we moving to adopt this tonight?
Yes. Yes, we did take this to Planning and Zoning Commission, who voted unanimously to recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second to adopt the zoning as presented. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Those like sign. Motion passes. Okay, takes us to item number 10, conduct public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1229, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, rezoning the property at the southwest corner of Farm Market 2590 and West Country Club Road, an area defined in the included survey attached as Exhibit A, providing that the zoning classification be posted upon the zoning district maps of the City of Canyon, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are expressly repealed, and providing for an effective date. Luke.
Thank you. So this is another zoning change request that we took to Planning and Zoning Commission last month. This is for the southwest corner of 2590 and Country Club. It is for a proposed Circle K. You can see their site layout included just for reference, and a broader map that kind of shows the area. This is an unplatted, kind of isolated corner, and so we did use the legal description on the preliminary plat they've submitted to set a boundary for this zoning designation, and we are working with them to finalize that plat now. As you can see, the request is for the RC2 commercial district on that corner. And same as the last one, we'll need to open a public hearing.
All right, with that, we'll open the public hearing.
Nobody has signed in, Mayor.
We'll close the public hearing.
I move to approve.
Second. Have a motion second to approve. Is there any discussion? Favor signify by raising your right hand. Those like sign. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. I figured after last meeting, we should just get some easy ones out of the way this time.
Got that done pretty quick, would you? Thank you.
You need to start running all the meetings.
Can we go that way?
All right, item number 11, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 22-2025. A resolution by the City of Canyon, Texas, supporting the application and acceptance of a FY24 FEMA SAFER grant for hiring 3 full-time firefighters for the Canyon Fire Department and authorizing the fire chief to represent the city in all matters pertaining to the administration of the grant. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. As the memo states, we discussed this back in March 18th. We were anticipating that the grant fund, or the grant application period would open at the end of March. However, that came and went, and finally, about a week and a half ago, the grant funding application period opened. However, there are some unanticipated changes in the grant funding this time around. In the past, it's been 100% grant funding for 36 months, and this year they have changed it to the first 2 years, the city would match funds of 25% with federal funds of 75%, and in the third year, it's 65% on the city, 35% of federal funding. I did lay an updated memo in front of you. The figures in the chart have changed just a little bit. Also, in the past, all the federal funding would allow for our raises during the year or step increases, merit increases, whatever. However, that's out now. Each year's funding match is based on what a firefighter for the city of Canyon at the time of application was making their first year. So even year three, say we had three step increases or 2 step increases during their employment here, grant funding will not cover any of that. That all goes back on the city too. So that's why this is being presented again. Just due to the financial commitment on, should the grant be awarded.
Did they give any reason why they changed those percentages over that?
No, sir. I can tell you, prior to about 3 years ago, there were matching funds on SAFER grants, and then all that disappeared and it went to 100% funding. So we just anticipated that's what it was going to be again this year until the notice of funding opportunity came out and we noticed the changes.
Will this help include more cities in the grant, you think? Will that spread out the funds some? Or?
They're still anticipating 300 grants being awarded, so throughout the United States. 300, I believe the funding level is at 340 million. I've not found any discussion on why the changes or why they're basing it all 3 years off of a firefighter's first year's salary and benefits. So.
Mr. Wright?
So you see the memo there, the grant amount would be $428,000. That's what the federal government paid for. Cost to the city over those 4 years would be $558,000. So I guess the question is, do we apply for the grant? If we don't get the grant, do we still hire these? We're still working toward getting that full-time, round-the-clock firefighters, and this would help provide for that. But it does require $500,000 commitment on the city over that 4 years.
The original request was for 4 firefighter positions, but due to these changes, it's been back down to 3 firefighter positions.
Remind the commission how many you have now, what this would bring you, and what you need to be at.
Currently have 12 line staff. This would bring us to, if it was awarded, 15, and we need 18 for full staffing at our current station.
I believe knowing that we need to increase where we are, this is a good way to at least approach that. I wish it was 100%, but it's not, and at least helps the city build into the budget and gradually figure that out, knowing that we need to increase that. Gives us some help.
So when would they let us know then that?
Grant applications are due by July the 3rd. It's anticipated by August 31st, they'll start awarding the grants, and that has to be done by the end of September for their budget year. So we would know by the end of September.
But we really kind of have to just include it in our budget then for the match portion or so.
The budget's tight.
So you don't feel like we would be able to, budget-wise?
It's
Feel that,
close.
Sam?
We're trying to keep property taxes at no more than 300,000, and that's been a challenge. Mr. Wright, do you want to speak on any of that at this point in time?
And the first year impact is 57,850. That's one more addition to a list that's already up to $1 million that we're gonna have to make hard decisions about as we go through the budget process. There's about $1 million of over excess expenditures to revenue projections right now, so this will just add to that list.
If we applied for the grant and received it, what would be the ramifications if we weren't able to accept it and move forward?
I do not, I mean, it's going to be up to us to accept it or turn it back. But I do include in my grant application if we do have the resolution to support it.
Never know, but based on our past experience, the odds of getting it are pretty low. So, you can take that risk
Yeah,
and
you say that.
come up with
I swear.
It's a very competitive grant, yes.
Always when you least expect it, Mr. Wright.
But it is a $400,000 benefit to the city of Kenyon if we do get it. So, and if we don't get it this year, I'm assuming we'll continue to apply the next couple of years probably to try to get that.
This is our third attempt,
fourth.
fourth attempt.
I move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, so are you putting in the budget for additional personnel?
I'm sorry,
Are you putting in the budget for additional personnel?
I did, and it's gone.
So we would just have this 57,000 in the budget, yeah, to where we could match the grant.
Would we automatically put it in the budget, or would we consider that out of reserves? If we got it?
I would suggest that we budget for it. If we don't get it, then we don't hire those and we don't spend
And
that
then we just hold that
57,000.
money, gotcha.
So if we do get it, they would be October 1st hires.
Yes, I think we would know by
Yes.
then.
Yeah, end of September, all the offers will be made, and then you have 180 days to recruit and hire, and then the grant goes into effect. And that can start before the 180 days is up if we're ready to move on it.
It's really cool that they considered the uniqueness of municipal budgets and the timeliness of putting the end of that right in the middle of, at the end of our budget cycle. That's cool. Why would they do that?
They don't
Who else is applying for these?
Lots of people.
Amarillo got
All cities?
I'm sorry.
Amarillo got it last.
Cities, counties, Indian tribes.
Got a lot of those in Texas.
Amarillo got it last year to fund a full station.
Yes, I believe so.
How many, I don't even remember, what, 15, 18?
Something like that.
For a station that's not even built yet, on the northeast side of town.
And Bernie got one to fund a station that had been built, so
Yeah, Bernie's,
it's, we're not sure what that means or how that works. They built a station and then,
Our one plus this year is that we are transferring to 24/7 staffing in October, and that will be documented in the application as well. And this would increase each one of those shifts by one firefighter to a total of 5 on each shift.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, item number 12 is to consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1230, an ordinance amending the City of Canyon, Texas Code of Ordinances, Chapter 37, Master Fee Schedule of Charges and Fees, providing for the addition of new and amendment of certain other fees and charges, providing a repealing clause, providing a severability clause for publication and an effective date.
Love all that language.
Got a new and improved bill here.
A new improved Bo.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, Bo's not well today, so I'm gonna present this. Thankfully, Bo presented it one time already, so we'll just kind of hit the highlights and answer any questions that you might have based on what he presented. When he presented last time, he explained kind of the process that we had gone through, the work that had been done, particularly on the wastewater rate, proposing changes to that fee structure, and then also the increases in the golf fees. I just want to call your attention to the exhibit that's in your packet, Exhibit A. This is the master fee schedule that's being proposed. Those gone through and highlighted any fees that are affected by what we're proposing for changes. And he's indicated there in red what the existing fee is and then what the new fee is. So on the first page of that, the cap proposed general admission increase of $1 during the week and $1 on the weekend. Also, a $3 increase in the annual 10 visit pass, and then a $10 increase on the birthday parties. The next major change is on the golf course. We discussed that quite a bit last time, but those fees are there, all increases just about every time. And with Casey's input on that he hopes to make this change and then not change it for a while. Parks and Rec, no changes other than just removing the Brown Road baseball fields because those have been converted to other types of fields. Planning and Development has a few new fees. You can see those going throughout their lengthy list of the different fees that they charge. The major one is going to be the proposed change in water and sewer. So the water is the implementation of the third year of the 10-year rate increase schedule that we've adopted based on the rate study that we did in 2021. So this is just adopting those, or changing the fee schedule for those adopted rates out of that schedule. There is the one new that he mentioned last time for an 8-inch meter. We didn't have any 8-inch meters at the time we did that rate study, so we're including that here. We now have 2 of those, I believe. There is some clarification on some other rates. As we get into the sewer rate, there's some clarification on the one cooling tower meter at WT, getting that straightened up based on some errors in that ordinance when it was updated in 2018. But there is also an increase. So we're currently billing them $6.06 on that. This will increase to $6.59 based on 40% of the consumption on that meter. Again, the most significant change is going to be restructuring the commercial sewer rates. Bo explained last time that that's really archaic right now. There's several different classifications or categories that we have customers' accounts fit into. There's really no rhyme or reason to those of how they relate to the actual usage of the sewer system. So we're simplifying that, proposing a base rate of $30.85 plus a $3.82 per 1,000 gallons of water used. So this would tie the sewer charge to the water that's used. And typically on a commercial account, majority of their water is going to go down the drain, depending on what the business is, but that pretty well ties their usage of the sewer system to water that is used. So this is just to simplify that, but also tie it to actually what's being used on the system. And then similarly, carving out an industrial sewer rate, which is new. Currently, this would only apply to one of our customers, but hopefully as we add more industry to our customer base, this would apply to those new industries as well. Any questions on that one in particular, because it's a little bit more involved? Bo explained how we looked at examples of other cities and spent several months looking at that whole structure and feel like this is a really good rate structure for tying it to actual usage. That's all I've got in the way of highlighting the changes. No other significant changes, but we'd be glad to answer your questions if you have
Joe,
those.
can you
Yes, sir.
explain the $150 permit fee for
Which,
a day or something?
oh, I'm gonna refer that to Lucas.
Sure. The same-day inspection fee?
Yeah.
So right now, we don't have any way to offer someone a same-day inspection. Everything's 24-hour or more. Sometimes we'll squeeze them in if we have the time, but we get the request often. And so we're trying to offer a same-day inspection fee similar to Amarillo. They offer that, which allows inspectors to either squeeze it in that day or work after hours. And so it's a higher fee because we have to move schedules around to be able to make that work, or have someone stay after to perform inspections same day.
So if an inspection call in at 8 a.m. or 8:30, it's not done till the next day now?
Sometimes it is, especially right now when we're in a lower period before some of these subdivisions open. But when we get busy, it won't be. It'll be for the next day.
So if they do it now, they get charged at $150?
If they call it in that morning for that day, it would be.
Even if they don't ask for it to be that day?
No. If they don't ask for it to be that day, then it'll be automatically scheduled the next day at the
You
regular.
won't schedule that day if you need something to do?
Correct.
That sounds kind of excessive to me, but I don't know.
It's just to get a priority place in the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if it's, I mean, it's gonna be hard on small builders and small business people more than anything else. I mean, if it was me, I would offer a $25 bonus to inspector to get it done that day, to keep the job moving. But I'm just a different guy.
So Lucas, what it look like right now if they call in at 8 and you've got capacity to do it that day, they go ahead and do it that day? Or?
If there's capacity, but our general understanding, all of our contractors understand, you have to call in your inspections the day before.
So would we charge the 150 if we had capacity? And I mean, it would only be if we needed to rearrange something?
That's correct.
You know, he said he would, if they went and did that day, they wouldn't be charged unless the guy called in and requested it.
That's right. It's for anybody requesting a same-day inspection. And typically when that happens is they didn't get a permit that they were supposed to have, and they're already trying to do the work. Or
That would be the number one reason.
that's the number one reason. The other thing is, hey, I've got concrete coming for another job and I want them to do this other thing for me today too. Things like that. Or I've got a contractor going out of town that they didn't tell me. I want to make sure that we get the green tag. It's circumstances like that to offer that priority. Like I said, this is something Amarillo offers. Craig brought it to my attention. It's something that we don't have. And so we're trying to follow suit.
Do you think that happens today? People call in and request?
It's harder for me to answer. Yeah, Craig would have a better idea. He's out of town right now.
Something I know we've talked about through the years, and I think maybe have explored it some, but just particularly in the cap, where we strive to break even, but we're still paying, the citizens of Kenyon are paying debt service, so you're paying a couple $100, additional debt service that somebody outside the city's not paying. Just, is there a way, benefit to those that are helping pay off the bond issue to get them into the cap less. And I think we've explored that some.
We have.
Right, so.
Gary, if I can, I called and talked to their vice president for development a few months ago and really didn't get anywhere with her. I had Brian contact them. He knows her very well. He contacted her and she put him in touch with one of their custom engagement associates, which would be a programmer. That he feels like there may be a way we can do that. We would have to do some custom programming. And that custom would typically range from $4,000 to $12,000 to have that custom program done, depending on what we needed. And it could be higher or lower than that. He just gave us a round number. So if that's something we want to pursue, that's certainly something we can continue to pursue.
And it would be a one-time fee.
Yes, sir. Once they had changed the zeros and ones and programmed that, then we would be able to do that. If you'd like us to pursue that this year, we will pursue that.
We thought billing accounts are a unique identifier. And so you have to register to get tickets. And it's possible if they use their utility bill account, we created this code for them. That could be a way where when they go in there to buy tickets, they automatically get a discount. So that was the thought. Those utility accounts would have to be uploaded routinely, or at least once a summer.
Build the system work on some top.
Right. And then realizing that could be anywhere from a $20,000 loss.
Yeah, we don't know what the loss on that would be.
Discount.
We
We don't know those.
Discount.
We don't know those.
don't know the loss.
We don't know those numbers. Again, because I can't run anything that's 79015, right? I mean, anytime I run that, it's giving me everybody in the county that's got our zip code for me to determine if they live in town or not. So we have to do something beyond that, and that's where Joe actually was the one that started talking about using those accounts. And I think Brian took that to them, and that's something we might be able to do. It may create some business and some phone calls down in the business office. But we'd be able to, we think we'd be able to do that. So we can certainly pursue that.
At this point, it'd really be for next summer at the
Yes, sir.
earliest.
Correct. Yes, sir. But now's a great time to be thinking about that, because everybody else is up and running. They talk about windows when the programmers are available to do things. They're closing windows because things are hopping in their world right now. And so their next cycle, we might be able to get into one of their next cycles as far as the programming queue. But we'd be happy to move forward and look at that.
Do appreciate you all digging into it. That's
Yes,
something we asked multiple times and we really didn't have any answers, how we could get there.
Yes, sir.
Is there other commissioners that have the same sentiments as Mayor Henders on this matter?
Be done. I don't know the monies. But
I'm covering it again. Talk about it almost every year at the exact same time. I'd love to see there's some type of incentive for people that use xeriscaping and different types of grasses. Again.
I'm not sure what that looks like, but I think that'd be wise long-term. And I know I've talked to a few builders a couple that said they would be game to plant like a Bermuda grass or a buffalo grass, but they wouldn't want to be the only ones that had to do it. And these are a couple of builders that build quite a few houses in town, but said, I don't want to have a Bermuda grass yard that I put in, and the builder right next to me has got green grass in the wintertime and all. So, I don't know. I think another consideration is, we're trying to save water over time and all. politician, so. Any thoughts on that front? I haven't talked to you about it, I don't think.
The last couple houses we've been a part of, we've definitely put Bermuda grass. But I'm in the same opinion. I would not want to be the only one that had Bermuda grass. I'd like to have that option if my neighbors still had that option. So, and a lot of the customers, until it just absolutely gets too high, they're still gonna plant fescue. And then some people's pocketbooks are just deeper than others. They can afford fescue. So if it's not cost prohibitive, some of them are still gonna go that route. But I'm not opposed to the Bermuda, and they're making better and better Bermuda grasses all the time.
We have talked about this since I've been here. I know we had a long discussion about this, and I think the commission at that time left it at their choice and not making new home builders do Bermuda. 4, we had this discussion, maybe 5.
But I think through these rates, you could incentivize it, and the xeriscaping.
Could, yes.
You could, you're right.
We did talk about directly, like any new homes had to do Bermuda and not fescue. I know we talked about that specifically, but I believe the commission felt to remain hands off on that decision, to let them choose what they want to do at that point in time. You can always go back and revisit that if we have a palette for that, or if we can just leave it where it's at and it's just builder's choice. And that was only for new homes being built. That wasn't anything else in town, just new builds. Las Vegas, Nevada has addressed this issue. Lucas, I think I saw something from Henderson County in Las Vegas. They were bold enough to do it with retail, but I don't think they were bold enough to do it for homes. I think they changed, enforced it on retail and
Yeah,
businesses.
I think we're talking about two different things, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, just to be clear, I'm not talking about new homes at all. I'm talking about, like other cities across the state have done in a lot of different areas, incentivizing their people to use xeriscaping and other types of grasses currently today.
Right.
That's what I was gonna mention, John, as I sat on the bus next to somebody at the APA conference that's in Arizona, and he just finished his project to take out his sod and install xeriscaping, and the city paid him back, I think, $4,000 of that $15,000 cost. I mean, it was a percentage, it was a flat fee. But, you know, he made that jump for that incentive. I think that's one thing to talk about as an incentive program. But then I think the flip side of that, from Joel's perspective, if I'm sitting in his chair, is if we have whole subdivisions, if we go back to the discussion of regulation that can only have Bermuda, how do we account for the loss in water revenue?
Yeah, we'd have to make up that revenue somewhere else.
Well, our great-great-grandkids recoup it in water.
Well, and the other thing about using the fee structure, it'd almost have to be something like that where you paid them to convert. Because right now, if it's not enough incentive for me to stop watering 3 times a week and cut down to 1 time a week for switching from fescue to Bermuda, what's giving me a lower rate on that water rate to water my Bermuda once a week? It's not gonna be that much more effective.
I know cities across the state are doing it, so they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
Just may not be depending on the revenue from the water rates as heavily as we are.
Right. I'm just
What
thinking
are the
of,
regulations for gray water? There's systems that are put in where you use your gray water. Is that a consideration, or is that just a county thing?
It's another expense. I know Craig went to a training on that specifically, and I just think the homeowner expense to install that system, because they have to make sure it's completely separated from any ties to the public water system, make sure it doesn't come back in. I think it's prohibitive. The same thing, like, you know, without writing them a check, you know, that's significant enough to have them make that decision. And I think it's gonna be hard to
But
get
new
volunteers.
construction, is that a consideration or no?
Not to my knowledge. I think that's the hard thing, is even with like rainwater capture here, you know, great to do in May, but then when it stops for 90 days, it's hard to rely on that
17 inches.
source.
17 inches, right.
With 10 of it coming in 1 month, or 12 or 15, yeah. So,
You go in some homes, in the parade of homes in Lubbock that actually were using some of the gray water.
okay.
So that sounds right, Paul. You know, to me, one of the incentives back is, and we've done it over time, we've already got it that way some, is to increase especially those top 2 to 3 tiers, you know, the rates on those. And you know, somebody with deep pockets, they may just, you know, pay it and go on. But, you know, I was visiting with a guy here this last week, Donnie McRoberts in Walmart, and he said something about, you know, he's planted, he went to fescue grass and he's a friend, and he's just saying, man, you know, water's high, and said, yeah, well, we've tiered it to where those top rates are higher for a reason, to try to, you know, limit use and try to get people to conserve and all too. So, you know, I think we could continue to do that. We could continue to bump those up some, but I think it also, you know, getting Megan put out there, there's a reason it's structured for that, for this reason and all too. And try to, you know, I don't know, Cody, if there's, you know, will help you put in some Xeriscape for $100, or, you know, I'm not sure if you have an idea what that might look like, or for existing residents, or.
Do we have any kind of incentive for people that water at a certain time, so you're not watering it
You're supposed
till
to,
noon?
you're supposed to take like water at a certain time. I can't remember what it was, Chris. Do you remember? It alternates on those. And we've looked at that. That's something we've talked about, and Chris will be coming to us sooner or later with a water conservation plan, which is outside of our drought contingency plan, because we think of that confusion sometimes we have on those.
Drought contingency plan is when we are requiring water restrictions.
Right. But we could come up with a conservation plan outside of
For people to do on a daily basis as good practices.
And we've had a lot of people that have continued to follow that, even though we're not in the drought contingency thing, but we could push that.
The even house numbers on Monday or
Yes,
Tuesday.
and a lot of us are still doing
Thursday,
that
Saturday.
based on habit.
Suppose it's the commission, would we want to bump those top 2 or 3 tiers some more? I mean, there is some increase this year.
I would say that, yeah, that's built into that 10-year
coming.
fee schedule, so every year those top tiers are going up.
Right, but it's only like, is it 1% a year?
I don't recall.
It must be 2% a year.
If I have that handy or not.
Depends on what area you're looking at.
$6 for 1,000 gallons.
Other side of that, we're already increasing the water meters on a lot of folks too.
Yeah, the base rate on anything that's over the 1 inch is increasing each year.
Yeah, it looks like a 2% increase.
My neighbors love my Bermuda. They think it makes their fescue look real good. Just a couple times, a couple months of the year.
You know, Cody, I admire you.
Oh, it's way, way different.
What's the
water.
dollar amount?
I couldn't tell you, but I could probably not talk
You
to
can look
them.
it up and see, I guess. It'd be interesting to know.
It's a lot because
I'm guessing 250 a month in the summer.
I probably water once when they water 4 times. I'll probably water a quarter of the time they do, easy.
What'd you guess, Kelly?
But I think
And the funny thing is their water runs off.
200 to
Doesn't, 'cause of
a Bermuda yard versus a fescue yard, somebody watering 3 to 4 times a week versus once a week,
Yeah.
probably 250 a month.
The thing that you guys have brought up, if I can speak, I don't know. The things you guys have brought up that I don't think would be a major concern is if you cut the water usage by 3/4, somehow we're able to do that, that is y'all's revenue source. I'm afraid that's gonna hurt you in the pocketbook very drastically in the short term, until something could be figured out.
We have an internal debate about that on a regular basis.
We do.
Well, on the short term, that's true. On the long term, I'm not buying that.
I've already started looking at
Water-
sustainability projects.
Water down the road is gonna be way more expensive than it is today, so.
I'd encourage us to look at some of the projects that the city of Lubbock is doing. Some of those sustainability projects, they are costly though.
That's all.
We passed around some articles related to water just today. Lucas, that article stated we would be out of water when?
93.
And how many people would we have?
We have 45,000 people in 5 years.
And that was in
77.
77.
Of course, the other side of that, I don't know if it's Mayor Rice had foresight to work to pull in the Amarillo water supplies, so that's come in since then, and we bought a lot of water rights since then too. So if we were still relying on embargo, we'd be hurting right now.
We also read the article today where we were talking with Amarillo about signing that contract. And the fact that we felt there was no need to join the Crim Law at that point in time. There were just 2 random old articles that I found related to water and how relevant they are.
Curious to know who made that decision.
How relevant they are today. There was another article from previous year that stated that embargo would be more than we would ever need.
It's costing us.
But
Think about 20 years ago.
things are different.
So back to your question on a 1-inch meter, it's a 4 to 5% increase each year
On
on the volumetric rate.
That's regardless of how much water you use.
The monthly bill per 1,000.
on the meter.
On the meter, but not the
It's
kilowatt.
the total cost.
Okay. I'm just saying on the tiers themselves.
He's talking about going on tier 5,
Like
going from
Tier
one year to
5
the
or
next.
tier 6 looks like. Yeah, it's right at 2% increase.
Right, okay, so it'd be 6% overall.
3 years.
For the meter rate increase and the volumetric rate.
You know, Megan's not here this evening, but I think it is something that we could advertise more, that we have higher tier rates up the upper end because we've got to conserve our water. And, you know, just some incentives there for folks to conserve water, but then also, you know, put it out there, you know, we need to, if it rains, you know, shut off your sprinkler system. So I know we had one person I remember in Canyon East that was complaining about water and water meters and went back and, you know, looked at what they'd done. They'd never shut anything off, whether it rained or not. So
She has a campaign that she's ran last year during the summer, so we'll just push that to go back out.
Any other questions?
sounds like it is something that the commission's passionate about if we can figure out, you know, any new ideas and all. So. All right, I think we need a motion here, so. Have a second? I'll second the motion. And have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1230 as presented. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion fails. Without doing that, I think our fee schedule will stay the same. And so I would suggest if somebody's got a proposal there, how we need to tweak this, that they would present a motion that amends this schedule, so.
May I ask the nays on what's rationale on?
So the day agree. The day of fee.
Well, I just think it's too much, but I'd take the fee and like to study it. First time I saw it was last week. And today, we don't really know what they're increasing anymore. I can't remember. Yeah, I need to study a little more. And I don't agree with the $150 for, that's gonna hurt small builders and small businesses in town. It's not a bad attitude to have myself, but that's just me.
Without the fee, we'll just push inspections to the next day, that's fine.
That's not the point, Lucas. The point is, we should be a city that if we got guys sitting around doing it, they ought to go out and help these builders. Help everybody try to be successful, all try to work together. That's not the point.
I think there's plenty of builders that will attest to the fact that we do everything we can to help them.
I agree with that too, 100%. You do a good job. I just don't like it. It's just me.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
I'm not saying.
I may be wrong, I'm hearing it a different way. I think we're getting out to do it even same day if we can. If somebody.
I'm not saying it at all. I think they do a great job. I just don't like backing another fee on it. I just don't like that.
But if somebody really was in a jam, almost a service to say, okay, yeah, we'll get right out to do it. We'll move you up in order and we'll get out and do it. And, maybe that doesn't need to be $150, but I think it could be a service to the builders in what I'm hearing, to move them up front line because they're kind of in a, emergency kind of a deal, so.
I think that was Craig's intention, yeah, that was just something that he was used to doing and when he was in Amarillo.
Please don't go back to them. I don't think you're doing a good job. I think y'all are doing a good job now.
And Paul, I think if that's the case, if you don't like the $100, you could make it $100 or $100 or $50, but still give an avenue for somebody to move up in line, so.
Well, the biggest ones we run into are people doing unpermitted work where that should get a permit. Those are the biggest offenders on this. It's not usually, sometimes it is. There are some people that don't want to follow the rules, let's be honest, that do building and tradesmen.
And I thought that, I think the water rates are high anyway. They're going up more. I know we all worried about water. We have lots of water. I mean, we got between Amarillo and here, there's no water for 400 years, in my opinion. Y'all may not think so, but they have lots of water. And cities are not the ones using all the water. Agriculture uses 90% of the water.
That is true. You are right.
That's a fact.
Yes.
But it's gonna be very, very expensive. I know, well, Sunday Canyon's already paying by the 1,000 for their water.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be very, very expensive to get it.
I'm not disagreeing with you there.
So I think at a point, we probably do need to approve a fee schedule. Is it the pleasure of the commission to table it and bring it back next meeting, or?
You were looking at.
Tired of the commissioners.
Or you want more time to study it, or what are we, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to look at it a little more.
I think that's fair enough.
We'll put it aside till the next meeting.
Commissioner Jones, anything that?
No.
Noteworthy. And I would see staff would be available for anyone that wanted to meet with staff. Yep. Bo or Joe. Commission hearing Commissioner Lyons' statement. Are you given direction to lower the inspection fee that we've been talking about?
Whatever y'all want, it's fine.
I know, well, it's okay. I'm just saying, I'm asking the
I think it
rest.
should be considered.
Okay.
And are there any other thoughts on considerations on fees? Because there's no reason to bring it back as is unless we just truly need more time to look at it. If there's other considerations, they need to.
We need some direction on that. I mean, if the commission as a whole doesn't want to do that fee, we'll take it off and bring it back. Or if they want us to lower that fee, or if they want to keep that on the table, we're amenable to that. So, very much so.
What's your preference there, Paul?
Well, I'd like, see, maybe you give me the paperwork, like, see how the water rates are affecting each one of them. It's just been run through real quick. Bo presented it's gonna be quite a big increase, the way he said it. Bo didn't address that, because it may not his job to address that, so I'd like to see.
The water rates, these are based on what we
I
got from
know.
rate study in 2021.
I don't care about studies.
But I mean, this is on the schedule.
Yeah, but
We're just following that schedule.
I just care about what it's costing the people that are voting for me. I don't really care if they study 15 cities, but that doesn't mean anything.
Paul, do you want residential, commercial, or just both?
I can see what we got.
Okay. Do you want just water, or do you want water and sewer?
We put some scenarios together.
I know we did some scenarios on solid waste, or excuse me, on sewer,
Sewer.
on those rotations. We can try to get those out. Mr. Mayor, if that's agreeable, we will try to get that out. Some examples, residential and commercial, before the next meeting.
Can it be talked about in executive session?
No, that cannot be
No.
talked about in executive.
No, we cannot.
Sorry.
Okay.
But I would be happy to get some examples out, back to the commission to look at.
Perfect. And Lucas, don't throw me under the bus now.
I won't.
I might need an inspection sometime.
Oh, I understand.
He doesn't have to throw you under the bus, you're already under.
I'm under the bus.
Put yourself there.
I sure did.
Okay, at this point, we'll go ahead and get some of that information out, and we'll bring this item back probably the next meeting.
Yes, sir, we will do that.
Okay. Very good. All right, item number 13, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 23-2025, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, authorizing an advance funding agreement between TxDOT and the City of Canyon for local government maintenance of railroad approaches, off-system, and authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to complete this transaction. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a project that TxDOT's got planned for next April. They're updating some striping and signage at our railroad crossings. And so they'll do it. There's no cost to us. We just have to enter into this advanced funding agreement in order to do that work. So not a whole lot to add to it. That's it. Striping and signage. To come up with, I think they're just coming into compliance with new, I don't know if it's new regulations or they're just trying to catch up on existing regulations.
TxDOT's paying for all of it.
Yeah, there's no cost out to us, so we're just a local entity.
Second.
Have a motion and a tie second, I'm not sure who, but all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, with that, that takes us to exec session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, and 551.074 personnel matters, Kenyon Economic Development Director, and 551.087 deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. And with that, I have 5:53, and we will adjourn into executive session.